What's a story, amigos? This is Kino with some cool stories for today's story time.
Today, Kim Karnsrithong reads a book about a girl who wants to get rid of her pesky little brother.
I tried magicking him away, but he ate my book of spells. I tried sending him to the moon, but he got the rocket all wet. Yuck.
Then join Paula Poundstone for a story about a restaurant with enough room for a wild crowd.
The hyenas walked in and laughed right out loud. They never had seen such a wonderful crowd. We've come from afar for our family meeting. There are 7 of us. We do hope you have seating.
And a cheerful girl who suddenly thinks she has a big problem.
School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. My name is too long. It scarcely fits on my name tag, and I'm named after a flower.
Major funding for Storytime is made possible by a grant from Helen and Peter Bain, so that families everywhere can share the joy of reading with their children. Additional funding is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, by the annual financial support from viewers like you, and by the National Endowment for Children's Educational Television.
Yes, Kino said you might drop by. Did you bring a book?
Yes, we brought this one. It's one of our favorites. You think Kino will like it?
Well, I don't know. I know he likes most stories, and he'll be especially glad that you came by to visit.
I hope he gets here soon, because we have to go to the grocery store with my mom.
Hi, amigos.
Hi, Kino. I brought my cousin with me this time.
Oh, hi, cool. Hey, look, you guys. I have $10.
Where did you get them?
Well, you see, I did a couple of jobs for my mom, and she paid me $3. Plus, I got a good report card, so my dad gave me $3. And then there were $3 that I was saving, so now I have $10.
Ooh, you're almost rich, Kino.
Hey, wait a minute. That's $9.
What?
3 plus 3 plus 3 is $9.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. $9 is what I have. 9 buckaroos. Am I still rich almost, Lucy?
Well, Kino, it doesn't really matter how much money you have. It's what you do with it that counts.
What are you going to spend your money on, Kino?
Oh, I'm going to buy something real cool.
Well, why don't you put at least a little bit of it away for a rainy day?
Well, why would I need it when it's raining and not now?
No, it's just a saying, Kino. Rainy days means hard days. So if you save it for a rainy day, then you're saving it for when you really, really need it.
Oh, rainy day, huh? I don't know. I was thinking maybe I really, really need a new skateboard or a model airplane.
I don't think you have enough money for those things.
But I'm almost rich.
Well...
Not enough money, huh?
Nope.
Ay, ay, ay. This could turn out to be harder than I thought. Well, could we read a story for a while I decide what to do with my money?
Well, we brought one. It's called My Little Brother by Debbie Gliori.
Oh, what's it about?
Well, it's about a girl like me, and she has a little brother, and he's a pest. And then something happens.
What? What happens?
You'll soon find out. This is My Little Brother.
Okay.
My little brother is a pest. He wakes me up at dawn with his leaky teddy. Copies everything I do. Follows me around like a shadow. And won't let me go to sleep at night. La la ba ma, da da dee dee doo doo, poo 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 poo, yeah. Sometimes I wish my brother would just disappear. I tried magicking him away, but he ate my book of spells. I tried sending him to the moon, but he got the rocket all wet. Yuck.
Oh, no.
I plastered him with my vanishing cream, but that didn't work. I tried feeding him to a wild beast, but she only yawned and kept searching for a place to have her kittens. One night, something woke me up. Ooh, ooh. It was dark. The wind was making a wooing noise. I looked to see if my little brother was awake, but his bed was empty. I got up to go look for him. Maybe he was in the kitchen. The little pest. The kitchen was quiet. He wasn't there. Maybe he was watching television. The little menace. I looked in the living room. The living room was empty. He wasn't there either. I began to feel a little worried. Maybe the vanishing cream had vanished him. Maybe the magic spell had worked. I was really worried. I looked up the chimney. Maybe the rocket had really taken him to the moon. I want my mommy. I remembered how nice he was, and he wasn't being a pest. I remembered how small he was, my little brother. I had a horrible thought. Maybe the wild animals had really eaten him. I almost started to cry. And then I heard a noise, a strange sort of noise. The sound came from the linen closet. I peered around the door and I saw our cat and 5 kittens. And curled around them all was my little brother. Not vanished, not magicked, not gone to the moon, and not eaten by wild animals. Just fast asleep. And even though he is a pest, I don't ever want my little brother to disappear again. The end. Well, how'd you like it, Kino?
Oh, yeah, I liked it. It made me think of my sister, Mariana. You know, the little shrimp. Sometimes she's a pest, but sometimes I like her, too. And we both like the same cereal and the same cartoons.
Do you get along with your cousin, Kim?
Yes, we hardly ever fight.
What do you say, Jeffrey? Do you get along with Kim?
Yeah, we don't fight. We're just like friends.
Oh, that's good.
That's nice. Oh, Kino, did you decide what you're going to do with your money?
Oh, well, I don't know. I'm thinking real hard, and I just can't decide.
Well, why don't you do what Lucy says and save it for a rainy day?
Oh, yeah, well, maybe I will.
Hi, everybody. Got some really good books. Anybody interested?
Hey, yeah, let's go. Come on.
I'll be over in a minute.
See, everybody, I'm almost rich. I got $9.
Really? Are you going to buy a book?
A book? A book? Yeah, I'll buy a book. That's the perfect idea.
I thought you were going to save your money for a rainy day.
Now, there's a thought. Save it for a rainy day.
Yeah, I don't know, but I just can't decide.
Got some picture books.
Oh, yeah? Which ones?
Well, I've got one here called Dinner at the Panda Palace. Have you ever heard of it? It's by Stephanie Commonson and illustrated by Nadine Bernard Westcott.
Oh, gee, I don't know it, but I'd like to know it.
Well, here goes.
Okay.
Dinner at the Panda Palace. The Panda Palace opened at 6 one night. All the tables were ready. The room was just right. As the diners arrived, they were graciously greeted. Mr. Panda himself helped each one get seated. An elephant came first, with a trunk that was gray. He'd been out on the road selling peanuts all day.
I'm enormously hungry. My bag weighs a ton. I would like to sit down. Have you a table for one?
The lions came next. They were dropped off outside. Welcome, your highnesses. How was your ride? Traffic was awful. The bumps were bad, too. We are so glad to be here. Is there a table for 2? Along came some pigs who needed to hide. Quick, Mr. Panda, let us inside. There's a wolf on our trail. We must lose him, you see. We'll stay here for dinner. Have you a table for 3? A proud group of peacocks with feathers fanned wide was a most splendid sight for the others inside. With heads held up high, they walked through the door.
Do we need reservations, or can you seat 4?
And then, one by one, the monkeys arrived. They went swinging across to their table for 5. The giraffes had just painted the rooftops in town.
If there's a table for 6, we'd like to sit down.
The hyenas walked in and laughed right out loud.
They never had seen such a wonderful crowd. We've come from afar for our family meeting. There are 7 of us. We do hope you have seating.
A party of penguins coming straight from a ball waddled in through the door, hats, jewels, and all. This is just the right place for our elegant date. Please, Mr. Panda, is there a table for 8? The Honey Bear All-Stars, with gloves, balls, and bats, had played a great game with the tiger-striped cats.
We hit 3 home runs, so we're feeling just fine. Now it's time for a party. Is there room here for 9?
Here a chick, there a chick. Where's Mother Hen? Oh, here she comes now to her table for 10. The restaurant was humming. The waiters moved fast. Feeding 55 diners was no easy task. Then, through all the noise, came a knock at the door. A tiny mouse asked, "Is there room for one more?" Mr. Panda looked left, Mr. Panda looked right. All the tables were filled at the palace that night. Did he say, "I'm sorry, we have a full house. We can't fit one more, not even a mouse"? No, not Mr. Panda. He found one more seat. In no time, the mouse had a fine meal to eat. So if you're ever hungry and going that way, just see Mr. Panda. Here's what he'll say. No matter how many, no matter how few, there will always be room at the palace for you.
Oh, that was great. Paula, you know what? Storytime is like the Panda Palace.
In what way?
Well, because... See if you can guess, okay? Do you know why Storytime is like the Panda Palace? Can you guys guess? Tracy or Kim or Jeffrey? Well, Storytime is like the Panda Palace because it's just like in the story. No matter how many, no matter how few, there'll always be room at Storytime for you.
I think that's true. Indeed, that's true.
I thank you very much. Hey, did you guys notice that the pigs were eating corn?
Well, that's what pigs eat, corn.
Oh.
What do the other animals eat?
Can you remember what the other animals were eating?
No, the monkeys ate bananas.
Oh, yeah.
The bears probably had honey.
Oh, yeah, the pigs had corn.
And the hyenas have bones.
You're right, yeah. Hyenas have a big old plate of bones. Yum, yum.
The mouse is eating cheese.
Yeah, that's right. The mouse had a piece of cheese. I would have had pizza.
Yeah, we know about that. Would you like to hear another story?
Yeah.
This is a story of a little girl who was very happy until all of a sudden she thought she had a really big problem.
Oh, just like me.
What problem do you have?
Well, I can't decide what to do with the 9 buckaroonies that are burning a hole in my pocket. Is that the girl's problem?
No, it's not that same problem.
Oh, what is it then?
We're just about to find out. Chrysanthemum by Kevin Hinkes.
Oh,
Oh, good. I want to hear that story, too. Ready?
Yeah.
The day she was born was the happiest day in her parents' lives. She's perfect, said her mother. Absolutely, said her father. And she was. She was absolutely perfect. Her name must be everything she is, said her mother. Her name must be absolutely perfect, said her father. And it was. Chrysanthemum. Her parents named her Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum grew and grew and grew. And when she was old enough to appreciate it, Chrysanthemum loved her name. She loved the way it sounded when her mother woke her up. She loved the way it sounded when her father called her for dinner. She loved the way it sounded when she whispered it to herself in the bathroom mirror. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum loved the way her name looked when it was written in ink on an envelope. She loved the way it looked when it was written with icing on her birthday cake. And she loved the way it looked when she wrote it herself with her fat orange crayon. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum thought her name was absolutely perfect. And then she started school. On the first day, Chrysanthemum wore her sunniest dress and her brightest smile. She ran all the way. Hooray, said Chrysanthemum, school! But when Mrs. Chudd took roll call, everyone giggled upon hearing Chrysanthemum's name. It's so long, said Joe. It scarcely fits on your name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. You're named after a flower. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and informed Mrs. Chudd that Chrysanthemum's name was spelled with 13 letters. That's exactly half as many letters as there are in the entire alphabet, Victoria explained. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria, said Mrs. Chudd. Now, put your head down. If I had a name like yours, I'd change it, Victoria said, as the students lined up to go home. I wish I could, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. My name is too long. It scarcely fits on my name tag, and I'm named after a flower. Oh, pish, said her mother. Your name is beautiful, and precious, and priceless, and fascinating, and winsome, said her father. It's everything you are, said her mother. Absolutely perfect, said her father. Chrysanthemum felt much better after her favorite dinner, macaroni and cheese with ketchup, and an evening filled with hugs, kisses, and parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that her name was Jane. It was an extremely pleasant dream. The next morning, Chrysanthemum wore her most comfortable jumper. She walked to school as slowly as she could. She dragged her feet in the dirt. Chrysanthemum, 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 she wrote. She even looks like a flower, said Victoria as Chrysanthemum entered the playground. Let's pick her, said Rita, pointing. Let's smell her, said Joe. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and said, a chrysanthemum is a flower. It lives in a garden with worms and other dirty things. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria, said Mrs. Chudd. Now put your head down. I just cannot believe your name, Victoria said as the students lined up to go home. Neither can I, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. They said I even look like a flower. They pretended to pick me and smell me. Oh, pish, said her mother. They're just jealous and envious and begrudging and discontented and jaundiced, said her father. Who wouldn't be jealous of a name like yours, said her mother. After all, it's absolutely perfect, said her father. Chrysanthemum felt a trifle better after having her favorite dessert, chocolate cake with buttercream frosting, and another evening filled with hugs, kisses, and parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that she really was a chrysanthemum. She sprouted leaves and petals. Victoria picked her and plucked the leaves and petals one by one until there was nothing left but a scrawny stem. It was the worst nightmare of Chrysanthemum's life. Chrysanthemum wore her outfit with 7 pockets the next morning. She loaded the pockets with her most prized possessions and her good luck charms. Chrysanthemum took the longest route possible to school. She stopped and stared at each and every flower. Chrysanthemum, 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 the flowers seemed to say. That morning, the students were introduced to Mrs. Twinkle, the music teacher. Her voice was like something out of a dream, as was everything else about her. The students were speechless. They thought Mrs. Twinkle was an indescribable wonder. They went out of their way to make a nice impression. Mrs. Twinkle led the students in scales. Then she assigned roles for the class musical. Victoria was chosen as the dainty fairy queen. Rita was chosen as the spiffy butterfly princess. Joe was chosen as the all-important pixie messenger, and Chrysanthemum was chosen as a daisy. Chrysanthemum's a daisy? Chrysanthemum's a daisy. Joe, Rita, and Victoria chanted, thinking it was wildly funny. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. What's so humorous? Asked Mrs. Twinkle. Chrysanthemum was the answer. Her name is so long, said Joe, it scarcely fits on her name tag, Rita said, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. She's named after a flower. My name is long, said Mrs. Twinkle. It is, said Joe. My name would scarcely fit on a name tag, said Mrs. Twinkle. It would, said Rita, pointing. And, said Mrs. Twinkle, I'm named after a flower, too. You are, said Victoria. Yes, said Mrs. Twinkle. My name is Delphinium. Delphinium Twinkle. And if my baby is a girl, I'm considering Chrysanthemum as a name. I think it's absolutely perfect. Chrysanthemum could scarcely believe her ears. She blushed. She beamed. She bloomed. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Joe, Rita, and Victoria looked at Chrysanthemum longingly. Call me Marigold, said Joe. I'm Carnation, said Rita, pointing. My name is Lily of the Valley, said Victoria. Chrysanthemum did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She knew it. Epilogue. Overall, the class musical was a huge success. Chrysanthemum was absolutely perfect as a daisy. Victoria made the only mistake. She completely forgot her lines as the dainty fairy queen. Chrysanthemum thought it was wildly funny, and she giggled throughout the entire dance of the flowers. Eventually, Mrs. Twinkle gave birth to a healthy baby girl, and of course, she named her Chrysanthemum.
I used to feel funny about my real name. Lucy's a nickname. Have any of you ever felt funny about your names? No, Tracy?
No.
How about you, Kim? Jeffrey? What's a nickname for Jeffrey?
Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's when they shorten it up.
Yeah.
And do you have a longer name? Kim, that's it.
I don't like it when people call me Kimmy or Kimberly or anything, so.
Oh, yeah.
Short for Kim would be.
Yeah. What's your real name, Lucy?
Lucinda. It was my grandmother's name.
Oh, I like Mrs. Twinkle. She was good to Chrysanthemum, and she even gave her baby the same name. Oh, I bet I know what the baby's nickname's gonna be when she grows up. Chris.
Might be. Now, look, this is a chrysanthemum.
Oh, hey, that's pretty. Hey, it must have been cool to have a flower named after you.
Well, that was a great story, Paula, and thanks so much for reading it to us. Now, before we go, we must do our story picks. I'd like to recommend Train Leaves the Station. It's one of those books where the words sound like music, or in this case, like a train.
Oh, well, maybe I'll use my money to buy that book the first time it rains.
Here's one of my favorites. It's called Now Everybody Really Hates Me. It's also about a little girl and her little brother. It's a very funny book.
Oh, well, maybe I'll buy that one instead.
Oh, it looks like it's raining outside.
It's raining really hard. I wonder for how long that rain's gonna come down.
Only until it hits the ground. I'm out of here. This is the rainy day I was waiting for. Oh, oops, sorry. I didn't say goodbye. I'm going to buy some books and ice cream. Well, I'm sure glad I waited for a rainy day. I didn't even have to wait that long. Hasta luego, pals. Bye.
Keep a story in your heart. Today's Storytime books are My Little Brother by Debbie Gliori, Dinner at the Panda Palace by Stephanie Kalmanson, illustrated by Nadine Bernard Westcott, Chrysanthemum by Kevin Henkes, Train Leaves the Station by Eve Merriam, illustrated by Dale Gottlieb, and Now Everybody Really Hates Me by Jane Reed Martin and Patricia Marks, illustrated by Roz Chast. You can find these and other books at your local library.
Major funding for Storytime is made possible by a grant from Helen and Peter Bain, so that families everywhere can share the joy of reading with their children. Additional funding is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, by the annual financial support from viewers like you, and by the National Endowment for Children's Educational Television. Storytime is a production of KCET Los Angeles.